that extent, what you, because so important for all of you to remember, the on and off question is very specific to the beats and actions that you committed to playing in the scene, which, you know, ideally should support the scene objective. So what was your scene objective?
And that's where it was so hard, because the scene objective, we talked about this, and I couldn't figure out what she wanted. I don't know if it was just her objective was to, I really don't know.
Okay. And that's the big, you know, because it really, the scene needs a lot of work because overall, and I'll tell you what's going on. Well, before I do, 9 times out of 10, again, for all of you, your scene, you know, you have to make the choice. Is it a love scene or a power scene? If it's a true power scene, that means that there's something outside of the relationship that's more important than the relationship. If it's a love scene, then that means that it's about people trying to unite, but they have all these obstacles getting in the way. So, you know, the majority of the time, the scenes that you're going to do are going to be love scene, not necessarily romantic love. This is, but it's just be about people, you know, coming together, and the relationship is going to be important. So, you know, essentially, you know, I'll give you the story. There's the married couple, 14 years. They have 1 child. They live in Copenhagen, I think, and they get a call that his father has died. So they go to Prague to claim the body. And it's a very strange, and Michael, these notes are more for you than Tristan, but he feels pretty put upon because he has not seen his, you know, at this time, he's 40, has not seen his father since he was 6. So to get the call, your dad's died, there's nobody else, it's just you. And so he wants the wife to go with him. And so, you know, he is out collecting dad's personal belongings, et cetera, and, you know, and then, you know, who when she was on the phone, who was she really talking to?
Was she really talking to Michael?
Yeah, she wasn't.
Okay.
And so Tristan, I felt like you played it like she really was talking to her mom. And she wasn't. That's a big old lie, you know, because she's talking to her lover. And then one of the other things that Christopher finds out, and I think it is right before the scene. It may be later. I wish I had to watch the movie again, but it's pretty good information. When he's going through dad's stuff, what's really interesting, dad's wallet's there, right? So he opens up dad's wallet and his picture falls out from when he was a child. And then the gentleman, the lawyer who gives him all of this stuff, I want to say it's before this scene. You know, they're talking, you know, because he's, you know, it just doesn't know anything about his dad, doesn't know why his dad left. I mean, that's like his defining wound. Daddy left him when he was a little boy. And so then the lawyer, he says, oh, you really don't know anything about your dad? He goes, no. He goes, well, you don't know what he did for a living? He says, no, I don't. He goes, well, he ran a website, a dating website for gay men. He said he was my partner. So there's that bombshell. And then as the story goes on, we learn that Maya is pregnant and it's the other guy's baby. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, it is a brutal movie. Okay. But Tristan, what we need to see, if we're going to decide that it's a love story, you know, it's a love scene, then that means that somehow it's about you trying to save this marriage. Okay. How can I save this marriage when the obstacles are, oh my God, you have this other man, you know, you're not feeling real well right now. You and your husband have, there's a disconnect, you know, you don't communicate. It's just, more than likely the marriage is past the point of no return. At the same time, even if there's just that 1% chance that there's some way he can figure out how to save it, I think you're willing to do that. The other thing is, because you came across it, you know, it's really important to remember that you want to play your character in such a way that the audience, they're rooting for you. Whatever your cause is, whatever you're fighting for, whatever your mission is, that the audience gets behind it and say, oh yeah, what a hero, that was so heroic. And so you want them to you know, root for you, root for the other character, but also that you want them to root for the relationship.
Okay.
And that's really, really important. And so I don't know that the audience would have rooted for you, Tristan, because you were kind of mean to him
I know I
throughout
was.
the entire thing. It's like, oh, that's not, we're not going to get you the results you want. I mean, actually, I mean, great. I want you gone, you know?
I know. I even said that during practice. I was like, I know that my character, like, I know the whole rooting for, I know I need to get the audience to root for me as well. I even said that.
Yes, and she does love him. I mean, this is the father of her child, but it just, you know, especially since she's been having an affair, she just realizes, you know, now I'm having the kind of connection that maybe I had with my husband years ago, or I mean, it's a connection I've never had with my husband. You know, I have this now, and you know, if he can try really hard, it's so well written, because one of the other and Michael, do you know what this guy's occupation is?
I do not.
He's a lawyer, and not only is he a
Okay.
lawyer, he's a bankruptcy lawyer. And I tell you what, years ago in one of my other lives, I worked for bankruptcy lawyers, and in terms of, you know, it's not like practicing criminal law or entertainment law, something that's kind of fun and exciting. It is really boring. And you're dealing with people losing shit, you know. It's like, you know, or even companies, you know. We got another chapter 11. It's just not pleasant. I mean, I don't know that any part of the law is pleasant, but you know, there's just something kind of almost poetic about him being a bankruptcy lawyer, because in many ways this guy is bankrupt. You know, his life is bankrupt. He's just very, very empty, and he does love this woman, and he desperately wants to fight for the marriage, but he doesn't have the tools. You know, he's spent so much time, and boy, I've seen you know, for everyone in here is pretty young. Don't ever lose focus of who you are. You know, I see so many people, you know, if there's any, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of really great silver linings we see after this whole stupid pandemic passes. And I really do believe that one of them is that people they have the time to do some self-reflection and think about who they are and what they want. And you know, it can't just be about going out there and making money. There's got to be something more, but this guy, you know, he missed the boat on that. And so, you know, but she's still being sweet to him. The other thing, Tristan, you had to be really, you had to be the moment before, I think, you know, she's sitting there, she's on the phone, oh, you're so bad, whatever. And then he shows up, oh, okay, gotta go, bye. So how was it? You know, you're trying to be loving and encouraging and supportive. And then when you show them the pictures, you know, well, this is how I spent my day. I went here and here and here and here. She just did a little sightseeing thing. And then, of course, she's lying about talking to her mom. How's mom? Well, you know, she loves my dad. She bakes cakes. We have to keep it light. I mean, this movie is so heavy that for actors, to the extent that you can find any moments of levity or entertainment or humor, you owe it to the audience. You know, it's just like in music. You know, you want to go in, if it's well written, the writer hopefully has done that. You know, you can have so much tension, but then you have to let it, you know, loosen it. You know, or you can have so much drama, and then it's got to, you know, people need a break. You know, unless it's like a horror film, but you know, that's a different story. I think also when he tells you what you think about moving, that should freak you out a little bit, because it's like, leave my lover. You know, even though you're not really sure how you feel about this person, he's fun, you know, and you're not really sure that you want to do that yet. Okay. So let that be a little bit more of a problem. I want to believe this relationship more. And I know it's so hard doing it on Zoom, but you know, the thing, it's been over 5 weeks, 6 weeks, however long we've been doing this. The beautiful thing is I've seen everyone in every class gets better and better every week. And it's been very validating to see that a lot of actors have been able to find that intimacy, you know, and put up a strong fourth wall and allow us to believe that we really are spying on them. You know, we still need to see that intimacy. So, you know, when he calls you, you know, on your affair, you know, she's just not ready to have this conversation yet. It's just like, oh God, everything else he's going through, I can't, she doesn't want to have that conversation, you know? And then I liked when you said you read my text, you looked at my cell phone. I think that worked really well. And, you know, but I think that I would love to see you, you know, one of the notes I made here was, it needs more heart. You know, you were pretty fiery, but you, divorce is just never pleasant, you know, and it really, it's like the death of something. And I think if people are mature and go about it, you know, if you had any kind of love to begin with, there's a certain amount of grieving and mourning. And so when you say that thing about you disappeared and I don't know where you went, that's heartbreaking. That should be a very heartbreaking little monologue there. You know, and also you have to be mindful that this is going to affect your child. Your son is not, it's going to break his heart, you know? Oh, it's just, yeah. So I don't think that, you know, even some lines that might read like they're punishing, like you had plenty of warning, I still think that you have to somehow temper them with love, you know? And on some level, the audience has to see that really, you know, by getting everything out in the open, you know, this is the chance for this couple to just sort of break everything down, you know, break it apart so that they can rebuild it, maybe. You know, and of course, as the story goes on, like I told you, we keep finding out all these little things, and it's like, oh my God. It's a very emotional movie. I mean, even they take a little trip and they go out to his dad's house, and there's one wall in Dad's house that's covered with nothing but the child's photos, his photos from when he was a little boy. So he loved that child, but you know, this movie takes place during a time where you know, if you were a gay man, forget it. You know, you weren't going to be a dad. You know, and I would imagine, you know, that his mother wasn't real happy about it. He may not even told the mother. I think he just left, you know, because it would have destroyed her as well. So okay, does that make sense, Tristan?
It does. It completely makes sense.
Do you have any questions?
No, I know where I'm going with it now.
Okay, cool. I love it. Alrighty. And I think Plinka plays too. In the film, it's a little bit tricky because I think the movie, this scene is actually 4 different scenes. I mean, there's a lot of movement. It starts in a courtyard, it goes here, it goes here, it goes here. But I think that for class, allow it to be in a restaurant. And the reason for that is if you're in a public place, you know, it's not, you know, you both have to, especially if you're waiting for your food, you have to stay there, and you're sort of forced to have the conversation. And the idea of, you know, just getting up and running away. I mean, whether she says that she's leaving, and I think maybe she does, then he's pretty insistent about, no, you know, you're staying because I asked you to. Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Okay.